So the past few months, the question has been, what is a structural integrity reserve? So in today's video, we're going to talk about what you need to know of what a structural integrity reserve is for your condo association. So in today's video, we're going to touch on the 4 points that comprise what a structural integrity reserve is. Point number 1, who is required by law to obtain this structural integrity reserve? Point 2, who can actually produce the structural integrity reserve? Point 3, what are the components required to be included within the structural integrity reserve? And the last point is, what should your association be doing with this information? So let's get started. Is this structural integrity reserve required to be completed by all associations? The simple answer is no. It's only going to be required by condo associations. The first item that you must keep in mind is if your association is 3 stories or higher, you are going to need this structural integrity reserve if your building is coming upon being 30 years old. The 30-year-old mark is based on when your certificate of occupancy was issued. Now, if you're a condo association that's within a 3-mile radius from the coast, you are going to be required to have it done if you're coming upon your 25 year of when your certificate of occupancy was issued. And when are you going to have this structural integrity reserve completed? The completed date is going to need to be by December 31st of 2024. The next question that we get asked is, who can actually produce this structural integrity reserve? What new legislation, or I should say the statute, requires is that it must be conducted by an engineer that has a structural engineering background. And number 2, it could also be conducted by an actual architect. So what components are going to be required to be included within this structural integrity reserve? So there are many components. There are about a total of 15 components. But in today's video, I'm going to go over really the big ticket items. The first item that must be included is the roof. They're going to be required to have all the structural components. Some of the structural components within there are load-bearing walls, foundation, structure, waterproofing, painting. There's also going to be the fire component, and the fire safety must be included within there. They're also going to require the seawall to be included, the electrical components, the plumbing components. So there's a long list of items. I don't want to bore you in today's video, but I wanted to give you a highlight of what are the items. As you can see, based on the items that I mentioned, these are going to be really the association's big ticket items. So let me add a very important point that you must also consider. These reserves will not be allowed to be waived by any member of the association or by the board. They're going to be mandatory reserves, and they're going to need to be in place effective January 1st of 2025. So another important point that you must keep in mind is that these reserves will not be allowed to be pooled. They're going to need to be used in a straight line method. So I know this seems like a lot, and you may be asking yourself the question, so what should our association do? Well, hopefully you're working with a professional management company. Here at Affinity, what we're recommending is our associations to start taking action today. This is going to be a big impact for many associations, especially those associations that, number 1, have never put any reserves away, or number 2, that have been voting down their reserves into partially funded reserves. As I mentioned earlier, the statute is going to require for this to be fully funded by January 1st of 2025. So your association should start taking actions or steps today. Right now, our industry leaders are figuring out how they're going to prepare these structural integrity reserves, but our recommendation as a management company to our clients is, if you haven't had a reserve study done, get the reserve study done. Please note that that will not fulfill your structural integrity reserve component, but at least it will give you a baseline of how much your association should have or needs to have put away in reserves. What we're recommending to our clients today is, if you don't have any reserves, is try to add some reserves, let's say a bare minimum of 10% this year, 10% next year. And once you have that structural integrity reserve, you'll see where you're at. Last thing you want to do is put this financial burden on all the members of your association at the last minute. You basically have 2 budget seasons to be able to comply to what the statute requires. I know this is a lot of information to digest in one small video, so if you have any questions or if you need additional information, please reach out to us. It would be our pleasure to help you. You may reach us by visiting our website, managedbyaffinity.com. Also, make sure to subscribe to our YouTube channel and hit that like button. We look forward to seeing you in our next video.